Sexy chocolate.
Really?
Sexy chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Sexy chocolate. You are sexy. Okay.
Sexy chocolate.
Yeah.
Where did you get all that at? Sexy chocolate. Sexy chocolate.
Coming to America.
Oh,
Yeah. Two of my co-workers referring to you as Black Jesus. Yeah. Yeah. So let me tell you about how you became Black Jesus.
becoming Black Jesus.
Becoming Black Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, I'm at work. We in a training class.
Okay.
And this one, we really didn't want to be in the training class, but we it was just happened to be a day where it was us three ladies in there. And normally it's three ladies and one guy, but this particular day it was just three ladies in there. And we was talking about the office closing and me retiring and it all started off about they started one said, I want to find me a sugar friend. I said, a sugar friend? They said, yeah, I don't want a sugar daddy. I want a sugar friend. I'm like, okay. I said, that's different. And then
Sugar
another,
friend.
a sugar friend. And I'm like, a sugar friend. She's like, yeah, I don't want a sugar daddy. Because I'm married, so I want a sugar friend. I'm like, okay. And then the other one was like, well, what do you have? A sugar friend or sugar daddy? And I was like, I got a sugar daddy. And she's like, oh, I like how you say that. You said daddy. I'm like, yeah, sugar daddy. And so it was like, oh, okay. And they started laughing. We laughed. And so then they was like, so why are you retiring and the office gonna close? We could just sit there. I'm like, I don't want to just sit here because I have a life outside of this place waiting for me. It's like, really? Like, yeah, that's like, and I happen to have on my shirt, uh, one of my shirts with us on there as my
Mm-hmm.
background. And they're like, oh, okay. They're like, so tell us a little bit about him. I'm like, okay, well, what do you want to know? Well, is he from here? No. Well, how'd you meet him? Okay, y'all asking too many questions. I said, either way it go, I got a life outside of here. And so the one lady has boot fetish. She liked the Irish settler boots or whatever. I don't know. They kind of some kind of work boots or whatever. And so we got to talking about shoes and boots and stuff. So she's like, well, what did he do for a living? I was like, well, he's a retired officer. It's like, oh, he got handcuffs. I said, yeah, he got handcuffs and I got thigh high boots. They like, ooh, boots and handcuffs. And then they said, well, let me see a better picture. So I pulled up your picture on my phone. I said, here he is right here. And they both looked, and all they said was, ooh, he's handsome. Black Jesus. And we all just fell out laughing. I said, why would you call him Black Jesus? And the one just broke out saying, because he have you saying, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'm like, really? This where we're going with that one today? She's like, yeah. So I'm like, you know what? I give up. I said, but I'm gonna see about the handcuffs. And since you like boots, I'm gonna send you a picture of handcuffs and boots. She's like, okay. She's like, ooh, you making me feel some kind of way. I'm looking forward to it. I'm like, y'all need help for real. So the next day, we go back into training class, and the guy is in there. And of course, I got on another shirt with us on there. And he's like, uh, is that you and your guy on your shirt? I say, yeah. And they like, no, that's Black Jesus. I'm like, you know what? I can't stand y'all. They like, he's so handsome. He's just
What
so
did he say?
handsome. He couldn't say nothing. He kind of turned red a little bit, and he's like, "O- okay,
He
okay.
ain't about the Black Jesus life.
No, no, he. I don't know if, well, how he should have felt, but I think it was a little
Mm,
too much for him because
mm.
but then he did ask the question, well, why Black Jesus? And the statement came back again, because he has her sin. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'm like, whatever. I said, we supposed to be learning here. They like, we are learning. We're learning why you gonna retire. I'm like, that's whatever. Okay. So there you are. You have a new name within my work group.
Alrighty
Well, not
then.
even in, not in, I just should say in my training group, because I told them, I said, whatever we talked about better not leave outside of these four walls. So they're excited about my life after retirement. They're like, you gotta keep us informed. You gotta text us and call us. I'm sure I will.
Call you, text me. Oh, what?
To let them know how my life is going after retirement with, as they call you, Black Jesus, Mr. Handsome.
Send a sexy photo.
Oh, well, I did have one say, I wonder what he sound like. So I pulled up the podcast. And I said, see, this is what he sounds like. She's like, oh.
I can do
They
the
funny.
album cover photo like they do Teddy Pendergrass and Michael Jackson, the album cover photo when they laid out like
Really? Yeah. Oh, okay.
the return of Black Jesus.
Really? Okay.
Hmm.
So I have to let them know when you come to town. So we're gonna do a meet and greet, so everybody that wants to meet you can meet you. I was I was telling my cousin about it. She said, "Okay, well let him know I'm standing security and only whoever I say can see him can see him." I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, and not everybody gonna get to meet him." I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah."
It
She said,
ain't that
"Everybody."
serious.
She said, "Everybody don't need to get to meet him." She said, "Because I've met him and that should be enough, but I let some people in, but they got to check in with me first because I'm gonna be standing by the door." I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "At what age do they feel they should stop giving you shots?" Because, I went to the doctor and she asked me, she said, "Are you up to date on your shots?" Like, 55 years old. Yeah, why wouldn't I be? She was actually going back to check my shot record to see if I was up to date on shots. If I ain't by this time, why would they feel they should give you these shots?
That's what they're trained to do. Look at it from her perch. She's a young doctor
She is.
and she's been instilled certain protocols. And that's just one of the protocols. She don't know you like that,
She don't.
right?
Right.
And as we were just talking, when you're dealing with old folks, they don't necessarily remember everything like they, you know.
Well,
And the doctor I go to now, I'm like, they don't have the records of me before.
that's understandable.
Right. So in the electronic age, it's gotten better to access those records, but there's a whole history, medical history that is not there that your doctor or the doctor you go to doesn't know about, and you've been on the earth for a lot of years with yourself. So she's playing catch up.
Well, I do understand,
Hmm.
but she's taken over from where my previous doctor retired.
Roger
So
that.
all my records, I say all my doctor records from 2011, she has, because
Hmm.
that's when I started going to her. Wait, is it 20? No, my bad, 2012.
Right.
2012, I started going to her, and so she have all my records, and she made sure when I came, because when I first came to her, I had to end up having surgery. So before I could have the surgery, she wanted to make sure I was up to date with all my shots. I understand. So she ain't asked me no more about my shots, even when she was getting ready to retire. So apparently I was up to date with my shots. I don't know how often you have to renew your tetanus shots, but I had to get a tetanus shot. And you talking about that thing being a beast? It's a beast. The shot didn't hurt, but it's the aftermath. Man, I had to figure out. I actually Googled what's the side effects of a tetanus shot because there was too much weird stuff going. Because I knew I wasn't sick, but I've been having a fever, I've been having body aches, and it's just like, why am I feeling like I was catching a cold or something? You know how when you first start getting the
Sure.
cold, you have sheet chills and all. I was getting all of that, and I couldn't figure out why. I was having headaches. I'm like, what's really going? So I looked it up, and those are all side effects of getting a tetanus shot. Headaches,
Flu-like symptoms.
yeah. And they
Hmm.
said it lasts 3 to 7 days. I'm like, oh my, I can't take it. Right now, my body is sore as if I've been working out, and I ain't worked out, which I do have to start back working out per the doctor. But I ain't gonna say which doctor because I have two doctors and both of them feel as though I need to get back active.
Yeah.
I got a doctor feel good and a doctor, a regular doctor.
I mean, we all
And
go through those cycles of not wanting to exercise, eat right, wanting to be lazy and everything. I'm the master
that
of all the cycles.
that is true. And the hardest thing is giving up my Coca-Cola.
Coke's on.
That's gonna be, I was like, give it up. How about we just like minimize it?
Sure.
So I'll
I
get
get
to
it.
it.
I
I'll
get it.
get to it. So yeah.
And that's
Man.
the you got to think, remember too, she's basing her thing off of the information like with shot records, you'll have some people that don't have shot records,
That
right?
is correct.
And even though she has your information from the previous doctor, it's still pages and pages and pages of it, you know.
That's missing.
So, well, that's not necessarily missing, but you have to hunt to get to some of that information, you know. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of there's some patients that don't remember if they do, and there's some that just don't have the history documented. So they're
True.
working from that kind of perch. Luckily you have you're going to a doctor who is taking over, who she's taking over for a doctor that retired, and that information is readily available. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times people switch doctors, and that information, especially back in the day, wasn't necessarily readily available. You had to go do damn putting records requests and all that other stuff and have it sent to over here and all just
Right, right.
whatever.
My doctor asked me this very question. Do you think it's important that uh we tell a family member what our wishes are, our final wishes are, far as being connected to a ventilator, a feeding tube, or the resuscitation? Do you think it's important that we relay that to someone, so they'll know what to do if we're in that state to where we can't speak for ourselves?
I think it's important to first have it who the designated person is,
Yeah, okay.
okay? And then who that person's backup is. That's the first establishment. Then after you do that, you lay out what it is that you want done in the case of vegetable state, in case of resuscitation.
Right.
And um, I don't know, everybody's situation is done different. Some
Mm-hmm.
people may want to separate. In one of the things you can do is a healthcare power of attorney and
Okay.
designate those people in the
Mm-hmm.
terms as what's going on.
Yeah.
Some people have one or two people that are kind of in that role already,
Mhm.
right? So,
Mm,
and that's most likely, it's probably the most trusted person you're going to, have in your circle or whatever.
mhm.
But as you get older, it is necessarily important to do those things via the heart. It's emotionally hard to do those things
Mhm.
because you're talking about your own immortality.
Mhm.
And we're taught to be spooky scared of dying.
And that's the sad part because we all know we have to die.
Right.
And I have yet to figure out why there's so many people that's still scared to have that conversation about dying. It's like you already know we gotta die. How we gonna die, we don't know. But I still say you need to have that conversation with those that you feel you're gonna leave in charge of your state of being.
It becomes one of those things. What is the saying? Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
Hmm.
Right.
I
And
understand that.
it becomes that type of thing.
Hmm.
You don't want to talk about it. It becomes big taboo and all this other stuff. But
Hmm.
realistically, um, you should have that. You should have a financial power of attorney. In some cases, the one person and their backup are the same. In some
Hmm.
cases, they're separate. One
Hmm.
person handles business and one person handles healthcare, um, or some kind of combination of the two.
Hmm.
Those are the things that we as older folks should be having in place. Not only the power attorney of healthcare, the power attorney financially, the will,
Hmm.
right? The
Hmm.
insurance is in place, how things are supposed to play out, funeral wise, services, what's supposed to go. Those things should be laid out,
I agree.
or a good idea of how this is supposed to roll, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so the person that is, so we, the person, people that are thinking through these situations,
Hmm.
um, we have to, as best we can, make sure that we pick the right person for the right job, for the right
I
task,
agree. I
you know.
agree.
And that's where the problem really starts to come in as to who do you trust and is stable enough that when the stress hits, they're not going to
Okay.
fold.
And that's yeah.
Right,
That's the hard part is finding
right,
somebody who's gonna be able to stay focused and handle what needs to be handled and not
and
just wig out.
right. So
Yeah.
if you got kids, making sure that they understand where things are supposed to, how things are supposed to go,
Mm-hmm.
and for the people that get tagged, you're it.
Yeah.
There's nothing about it that's easy,
It's not.
right?
It's
Because the
not.
whole thing is a whole emotional roller coaster. And the thing you have to safeguard against is people taking advantage of you in the emotional state. That's why the person that is designating the things should try to lay it out as best as possible, the direction to go, so that they don't have this big emotion. They're already going to be on this emotional low, but they
Mm-hmm.
don't have to try to now scratch their head and figure, well, what do they want me to do with the Rolls Royce?
Right.
You
Right.
know, that
Right.
kind of thing. And there's little knick-knacky shit that people don't think about. But when you
Mhm.
pass on, somebody got to fuck with it.
Some they will fight over it, and you be
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you're fighting
right,
over
right,
just it's just say a
right,
photo album. Well, I want the photo album, but well, who
right,
cares? That it's little
right,
minor things, but they
right,
still fight over the simplest things, and it's like whatever.
right. I wanted the Gucci suit in the perfume. You know,
Right, right.
it, it becomes that kind of thing. So if you're in that position where you're making those kind of plans, which everybody should at some point make those kind of plans. The more in depth you go, the better. But
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a emotionally heavy type of subject. So even though it's part of life, part of my thing is kind of downsizing to the essentials,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Do I really need that? And sometimes it's not about something that you really need, it's just something that you enjoy.
Mm.
And it may not be worth a ton of money, but it's something that you enjoy, like um the shoe thing, right?
Right.
Not collecting shoes, I just like shoes. I
Correct.
like funky shoes. I think they're an accent piece and this, that, and the other. The road I'm not going to go down is the collecting of these expensive ass shoes that are still just shoes. Right? So those people that get into it, I'm not knocking you at all because that's a commodity,
It
right?
is.
And
It
if you're
is.
in the game, you're in the game.
Correct.
If I'm in the game of trading $1,000 sneakers, right? I'm in the game, right?
Right. Right.
And that means something. That ain't
Right.
me.
Right. Right.
That shoe's over 175. You better pump your brakes. I'm not fucking with it.
And see, I get that. I get that.
Right. So those type of things, when I pass on, right, I'm not expecting nobody that's not my shoe size to be fucking with them things. Donate that shit, shoot it out, and keep it moving. Right. Don't spend no time fucking worried about what the fuck is in the shoe collection. Because if there's something in this shoe, and I don't even call it a shoe collection because it's not a collection, it's just I like a few shoes. But don't be expecting the $1 million shoe in this motherfucker, or the autograph the autograph shoe, or it ain't gonna be in there. All that shit's fucking worthless, dude. It just
Right.
it looks funky, right? And
Yeah.
that's what I like. I like funky looking shoes, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's the shit,
Oh,
people, you leave shit for people to argue about, right?
yeah.
So getting older, minimize that bullshit, you know, and
Yeah.
keep that shit moving.
So,
That's the thing. Take care of the business before the business takes care of you.
right.
Or and
Yeah.
what I mean by that, on your deathbed is not the time to try to handle business, because now that's where you get, and the reason why you handle business in the first place is so if it does end up in probate court or something to be disputed in court,
Mm-hmm.
it's already laid out, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
think of all the famous people who, and I think about some of the entertainers in particular who've passed on without a will, and the people that benefit from it are the lawyers. You know,
Yeah.
they benefit from it. The family and rightful heirs are always fighting. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes these amounts are not what one would may have thought they would have been,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think of one case where the musician died and the estate was at 700,000.
Okay.
I was like, 700,000. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. You would think it would be more.
I was like, I at least thought it'd be a few million.
Right.
700,000? No wonder they were still torn.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think of entertainers are being kind of lavish in their
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle, even though that's not necessarily the case with a lot of people. There's a lot of entertainers who are just basic, they just like basic shit. They don't
Mm.
necessarily live a lavish lifestyle. The lavish lifestyle is for the stage, you know.
Right. Right.
But I would think their net worth, that person in particular's net worth would have been more than 700,000.
Yeah, you would think.
Right.
Well,
You know. And so the family is in a fight over,
yeah.
you know, and they're saying this person is no, that person came in lately. We was here before, and this, that, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you get that a lot.
or and I think in that case too, there were some directions, but the directions were made as the person's health was severely failing,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore they're contesting the mind state of the deceased person. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, that's gonna be in court for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I some
And the
me
seven hundred
personally,
thousand, the lawyers will get what, 200?
right. Me personally would think people could come together and figure it out with uh just a common agreement, but that's not possible because everybody get greedy, and you got people that feel they deserve this, and there's others that like that person don't deserve this. I should get this, so it's like sometimes it's probably better just to go to court.
I get the law of saying, we don't know you people like that, so we
Mm,
have to go off of a certain set of protocols to determine this thing rightfully and fairly in the
mm-hmm.
eyes of the law.
Mm-hmm.
Getting older means transitioning,
Correct.
right?
Right.
You're transitioning from being young, independent, and running around this, that, and the other to being older, and you still may be independent, but you're still dealing with the aches and pains and mental of being older.
Correct.
And sometimes when you get older, and maybe things are not necessarily in place like you want to, because who anticipates getting sick and
No
this,
one.
that, and the other, right? So
Right.
then when certain moves are made within the family and you felt like why they're doing certain things,
Mm-hmm.
I had to remember that transition time is not only hard for the person that's transitioning from being young and independent to wise and older and independent to being older now and becoming more dependent on those loved ones around them.
Correct.
It's a tough thing, not only for the person
Mm-hmm.
that is transitioning, but it's a tough thing for the people that are doing the caregiving.
Yeah.
Right. So I had to understand the value of not taking a lot of shit personally
Mm-hmm.
on one side or another, why certain decisions were made, on why uh, certain directions are going in, you know, and and also being able to direct people when it was my turn to be the caregiver, to be able to direct those properly to kind of help me out. And not
Mm-hmm.
everybody has the ability to know how to direct people to what they need, right?
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of people don't have that understanding. So certain decisions will be made and people will be left out of certain things and people getting their feelings and all that other stuff. And
Mhm.
So I say all that to say that getting older is a transition, not only
Mhm.
for the person getting older, but for the caregiver and the people around them. It's a weird time frame.
Mhm.
And the thing to remember is we're human. We're all human,
Mhm.
right? And some people handle things better than the others. Some people make better decisions than others.
Mhm.
The taking your ego out of it is the first step that I had to do.
Mhm.
Not take the shit to where my ego got riled up. Because I'm gonna
Mhm.
take it personal,
Mhm.
as far
Mhm.
as watching the transition is going to be taken personal.
Mhm.
There's very few. If you're attached in one way or another, you're going to take it personally.
Mhm.
The
I
key
mean,
is to, I'm just
it,
saying, yeah.
and I can understand that and agree with you. And first of all, I want to say thank you for helping me with dealing and realizing these are just people. They're human, just like they just another person.
Mm-hmm.
But to see someone who was almost like your Superman or
Mm-hmm.
Superwoman or whatever, and to see them transitioning to they not that person no more, to where is in they was your go-to person for whatever, and now you're they go-to person because you got to do all this for them. I can see where it does get hard because
Yeah,
we experienced that with my grandfather. My grandfather. My
sure.
grandfather was like my hero, one of my many heroes.
Right.
But to see him fall, and one I won't say fall, but as you say, transition into that, whereas in we're sitting there feeding him, and
Mm-hmm.
it was hard to watch, but it still
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, this is what we got to do. And that, it's hard, but
Right.
it was hard, but it was a lot easier because it was a team. It was a group of us that did it.
Exactly.
It didn't all just fall on my grandma. And like you say, you was that person that said, you do this, you do that. She was that one. Hey, I need you to come do this for your granddad. I need this for you
Right.
to come do this for. So
Right.
she spread it out, the duties of what she all needed all of us to
Yeah.
do for my grandfather.
Yeah.
And so it didn't wear her out. So,
Right.
I get it.
Yeah. And
Because,
that's the best way to do it to me. If
yeah,
you have the resources and the people that are willing and stuff, you spread the
yeah,
load out,
yeah,
um, in that way everybody gets to participate and get some closure. Um, and emotionally, it's a bonding moment for the whole family. So,
yeah, yeah.
but
That's
the
true.
early stages of it is just all kind of weirdness going on. People get to
Yeah,
act in different ways.
yeah,
The malicious people get to maneuver in, to see what they can get. And,
yeah,
you get all these weird dynamics going, because, you got to shift things uh, in cases where there's a lot of assets, is
yeah,
safeguarding, from these other people maneuver, a lot of counter
yeah,
moves and shit like that.
yeah,
So it becomes a really strange and weird place,
yeah.
and
And when we're saying transitioning, and it's not transitioning to death, it's just the fact that their health is transitioning to where they need to depend on you more,
right,
and you just got to be there.
right, you know,
This is your time to where you say, "Oh, I love you, I love you." Well, this is your time to put in that action of love, so-called love.
exactly that,
Yeah.
um, I'm lucky. And I was just thinking about this today. Yeah, turning 60 hits different. There's a
Mhm.
lot of things that changed in a short period, both
Mhm.
mentally and physically.
Okay.
But I still have the superhero mindset. You know, I just motherfucker, I'm a superhero, and I was thinking about that. I was as I was thinking about a conversation I'm gonna have uh with my goddaughter, right? And thinking about a conversation I'm gonna have with her, and my mindset is still I'm a superhero.
You my
Right?
hero. Yeah.
I that that's been my mindset from a kid, and that's still my mindset that I'm a superhero.
Okay.
So I'm not out this motherfucker yet because the superhero mindset is still there. I'm still a super fucking hero, you know.
Yeah.
So it is that kind of thing, you know. And I think if I ever lose the superhero mindset or I don't believe I'm the superhero, it's time to check out of this bitch.
Yeah, well, you got to keep that because you ain't
Right,
going nowhere no time soon.
right. So, but you know, it transition time is a weird time period for everybody, you know,
Yeah, it is.
everybody involved. And yeah, it brings out the ugly in some people, and sometimes it brings out the ugly in people because they just don't know how to handle
Yeah, yeah,
it. You know, they
yeah,
just don't know any other way to handle it. You know, the pressure was too great for them, you know.
yeah,
So that
yeah,
that acting out is their way of dealing with it, or
yeah,
you know, they cracked, you know,
yeah,
that type of thing. But you know,
yeah.
it
So
happens.
I look at it as if you got a team or support team, try to use them so you don't burn yourself out, especially when you know you're not in the best of health yourself.
Sure,
Hey,
sure. Um,
because you don't want your body to start shutting down on you, because then you ain't no good to nobody.
well, and two, it becomes one of those things where sometimes people naturally pick up the ball, and
Mm-hmm.
then sometimes, like in my case, you have to be the one to be like, no, you need and directing the show. And
Right.
I think it became natural for me because I'm used to directing the show.
Yeah.
You know, I'm used to when like, well, and the first thing I do is in any project that I'm doing is I roll my sleeves up first.
Yeah.
You know, and then that's the only way I know what needs to be done and what needs to be supplemented because I roll my sleeves up fucking first to get in there. I'm the first
Mm.
in the door, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes that kind of situation, you know, especially if people are in positions that they're not normally. It's it takes something different to be a leader when you're not known to be a leader,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you're
Mm-hmm.
thrust in the position to be a leader, yeah, yeah,
Mm.
you've been chilling in the cut, motherfucker. We're gonna see what you about today. Get your some,
Right. Right.
you know. So that all that becomes a different type of situation, you know. You figure it out, you know. That's the only thing you could do is just rock with it and figure it out. And then the thing about it too is before you react to something that's uncomfortable, breathe, take a second,
Yeah. Yeah.
breathe, you know, because a lot of emotions get riled up to where people get fucked up with it. It happened. It
Yeah.
it
It,
it, it happened, and you know,
yeah.
and
It
people I
makes
know
sense.
got into it, and I had to. I was look, y'all got to knock that bullshit off. My thing was this. I was like, y'all got to knock that bullshit off. I ain't got time for this.
It gets to that point to where you do
Mhm,
have to breathe, and
mhm,
in certain situations you gotta take your emotions out of it.
mhm, mhm,
As much, I don't care how close you are to it,
mhm.
when it gets too bad, you have to pull your emotions out
Right.
and kind of think logically and say, okay, well, look, now that my emotions are out, then you can get a clearer understanding of which way you want to go. Because now
Mhm.
you're You're not so emotional.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm.
So that's the only thing I would say, you know,
Yeah.
with that situation.
Yeah.
Because
So.
I've been there. I've been there on both sides of the
Hmm.
coin. And especially with now getting older, I'm having to identify who's going to be in charge to take care of what,
Hmm.
you know, and then work
Decisions
it
to
from
be
there.
made.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then work it from there. And don't get me wrong, it's tripped out to me, uh, because you never think about this type of time coming around. When you're
Hmm.
younger, you don't think about the decisions that's made when you have to get older, right?
Yep.
You don't think about that shit. And now
And
that I'm here, I gotta think
hmm
about that shit. Yeah, it's weird.
it is especially when you done got older, but then
Mhm,
when you done already had to be in that situation to where you had to make decisions for people.
mhm.
He's like, okay, now that I done sat in this seat that I had to make these decisions, let me kind of make some decisions before I'm put in the situation. And whoever is left here to do this may not be strong enough or mentally fit to deal with what's going on. And so now I got it already written down. All they got to do is follow the instructions, and it'll make it a little easier for them because,
Well, written down, and also because a number of them are younger, having that conversation with them, and part of that conversation with them is training them,
yes,
right?
yes.
It's not just giving orders, it's also training them. Hey, this is how things should be done, really. And
Right,
this is how, yeah, I want you to attack this not only for me, but
right,
for yourself too. I'm giving you a blueprint on what to
right,
do, you know.
right, right.
So um it's all of that type of the mindset. And
Hmm.
so for me, it's kind of tripped out because I'm like, okay, we're here.
Yeah,
This is the point we're at now. So
yeah.
coming to reckoning of that myself,
Mhm.
becomes the thing too. I'm here for the people.
I appreciate that you here for me.
Mm,
When we're having a movie date, it's not for the people, it's for me. I'm a little selfish on that one.
I'm here for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Mwah.